You just have to make sure that nobody else has got it, really. And yeah, and you know, people have had pizzas Sunday sort of afternoon for children's birthday parties, or they've had them for evening.
Is there a charge?
No.
Well, the one thing is that if you're going to use it for commercial activity, there'll be a charge.
Yes.
Okay,
right.
if you're just using it for a family event or for just something with your friends or whatever, then there's no charge.
Perfect.
But if you want to rent it to make pizza to sell to the public,
Right.
then you're going to rent it.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand.
Now,
For a small fee.
when you just put in more wood,
Yeah.
did you put it in the same place, or are you pushing it back further as you work?
I am pushing it back slightly, also because I'm building it up a little more, and so there's just more room inside because it's dome shaped.
Yeah, we'll see that the chimney is in the front, and so the fire has to go up, lick around the chimney and the smoke, and then come forward and then up. So,
But I am pushing it back slowly.
Okay.
The thing though is that you want it to try and get an even heat. So if you push it back too early, then the front's going to be cool. So you want to get a good fire going in the front, and you push it into the middle after maybe 20 minutes or so, and then you let it sit in the middle for a good long time until you're close to putting the pizza in, maybe 10-15 minutes. Then you push it to the back.
Now, do you ever close the door while you're
No.
doing a fire?
No, because closing the door would cut off the oxygen supply and the fire would go out. And you're not trying to, again, it's not bread making. Bread making would be a whole different process. This is pizza making. You're just going to use it, make the pizza, and when the pizza's done, you're done. And you do it with a live fire at the back. With bread, you'd presumably get it going well and then close the door and let it, you know, retain the heat, pull the coals out, and then put your bread in. But like I said, you know, I've never done that, so that will be another workshop by someone else.
The amount of wood that you brought would be generally sufficient for.
I typically bring about 2 of these. And like I said, I have more in the truck here that I need to go and get and split. But probably maybe 1.5.
Okay, and so how much of that would be maple and how much of that would be cedar?
I was probably a little light right now on the softwood.
Okay.
No, normally I would maybe have a little more, just so that you can feed it through if it needs
So
to get going.
do you do like a third to two-thirds?
No, maybe like 20-25% softwood maybe. That's rough estimate.
Okay.
But once it's going, you know, you have the maple, and if it's good dry maple, it's only really a problem if the wood is damp. You know, if it's been outside or the weather's been really humid. I mean, some of this wood's a little damp and it's been inside, you know, it's just...
Yes.
it's the season. The people who make bread, Sean makes it on Fridays, and on Saturday mornings, the temperature is still around 200 after 12 or 14 hours later.
Oh, okay.
Still a couple of hundred degrees
So
inside.
now he's making bread for himself? Or?
He
No, he
sells
sells
it
it
out.
here at the market.
Oh, okay. Good. Oh, okay.
We have to get here before 11 because it's usually gone by about 11.
That's great though. Well, we usually come to the market, but I volunteer at the reuse.
Oh, good on you.
Yeah, what a great place. It is, isn't it? Unbelievable the stuff that comes through. And how quickly it gets snapped up.
Things just get out of a car and go right into the next one, don't
They
they?
do. It's fabulous.
It's,
I think that
it's,
should be a model for the country.
it's true. It's absolutely true.
Because I don't think I think it's very, very unique. Yeah. That's it.
So today I brought a dough, I also brought the pizza yeast and ingredients, so if we run short of dough, we can make another little batch pretty quickly. Well, you know, someone asked me that, but it's I don't measure stuff, so that's the thing, you know.
I can tell you my recipe.
Yeah.
I use a pile of flour, and then I add enough water to make it kind of not really sticky, but so that you can knead it. And then I add, well, I don't, maybe a tablespoon of yeast to, I don't know, but you know, a pile.
Yeah, see?
So it's more yeast than you would use if you're making bread, because and then I knead it and I let it, and then I roll it out on my pan and I put all my ingredients on it, and then I let it sit for just about 10 minutes, and I have these beautiful big crusts.
Well, I was going to say, I don't have, I used to do that with the kids all the time, make pizza, and you'd be cutting, I don't know how long it was, because they'd be cutting the ingredients and putting their stuff on, and by the
Right.
time that was done, I was putting them in the oven.
That's right.
Yes, that's also a great kids' birthday party. Each had their own pizza and had their ingredients. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to have them make their own shapes of pizzas, so some people, you know, would make
That's neat.
yeah,
Stars and
whatever.
no hearts.
Come on, I was
Well,
never.
one kid was a tank, so yeah.
How come I was never invited to those parties?
You didn't live here then. That was on the corner where Barb is now when Steve Byrne and Carol Smith used to live there.
Oh yeah. In spare time, Steve chops wood. No.
The other thing that's useful is a
Great
hatchet,
job.
or some kind of an axe, because there isn't one here.
Okay.
It's one of the tools that there isn't here. It's a good thing, yeah. But something to keep in mind when you preparing. Of course, if I was really organized, I would have had a checklist of things, right, and just handed it out to you. But
Well, now
it's more fun.
Nancy's making the video, so we can train people online.
Yeah, cool. That's a scary thought.
Not really, but it's a thought.
There we go. Let's get that smile there. So this has got 70x zoom.
Well, I mean,
When
with
he
our
got
new
his
website,
splinter out, we
anything's
could
gonna be
see it.
possible.
So other than pizza and bread, has there anything else been anything other than that ever?
Well, I
like
think you
cooking
can.
pots in there.
But I don't know how other ovens do it. Like in the one in Toronto and other places, I don't know what they do. I mean,
They're
I
just not to have anybody cook fish in it, and so I think at the moment we're a little reluctant to try,
Meat.
things that would have grease and
yeah.
just not sure what it might do to the oven. I mean, what if it ever got tainted,
Yeah, fish is a definite no-no.
I was
Okay,
thinking like
simply
cinnamon
because its
cinnamon.
Oh yeah, of
odor
course.
will permeate the oven, and you won't ever get rid of it.
So like you don't want fish on the pizzas then either.
No anchovies. Oh.
That's a tricky question.
Yeah. They're pretty
I would
limited,
say,
I think.
yeah, I would say not. Let's try and not do fish here. Theoretically, you can do meat, but like Tom says, we've been a little reluctant to go there just because of we don't know what grease and fat and that kind of thing will do.
Now this is separate or on a pizza?
I was going to say.
No, on a
yeah,
pizza is
John
not a
does
problem. I've
Yeah.
done sausage on a pizza here, and
Yeah, sorry, no,
bacon
I meant, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a chicken cooked
But we're
chicken.
talking about like
Chicken
a
and
roast or
roasts
something.
and things like that we'd
Yeah.
be a little antsy about.
But if it was in a roasting pan and it had a lid, that's not out of the question. I mean, the one thing is, the heat is the temperature is something to watch. I mean, you'd have to use like cast iron or something. I've roasted vegetables in here, and that works very well,
I
actually.
was going to
Is-
think that because that's at a high temperature. So
Because when it cooks the pizza, it cooks it at such a high heat, for such a short amount of time, that depending on what you have on the pizza, it's not necessarily going to cook, you know, like peppers or even mushrooms and that kind of thing. So what I've taken to doing as well when the oven is, when I push it back into the middle, I'll take a roasting pan and I'll roast eggplant or peppers or that kind of thing, and that's really nice on pizza. And it does it very nicely in a cast iron skillet.
Sean, who makes pizzas on the weekend, does all of his in a skillet. So
Yeah, he puts cornmeal
So they don't stick.
so they don't stick to the frying pan. I don't know how that would work, putting cornmeal on the floor of the oven. I guess that's okay, is it?
I think that's okay. Yeah.
Makes the
That's
pizzas in a
awesome.
skillet?
Yeah, on top
I
of
mean, one
cornmeal.
thing-
Pizzas in the skillet or the ingredients?
The
pardon?
pizzas.
The pizzas.
Just pizza. He does the pizza in a skillet.
Yeah, I think the main reason that Sean does that is because of the thickness of his crust.
That's right.
I do a very thin crust.
Yeah.
And if you try and do a thicker crust pizza with this method, it probably won't cook the dough properly. I have experienced that before when I was experimenting. So the thin crust works very well. Sean pre-cooks his crusts and then he just puts them in here with the ingredients and heats them up.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, if you want a thicker crust pizza, that's something to consider.
Or a lower heat.
Or a lower heat, yeah, absolutely. I mean, with a lower heat, you probably are going to get it high, and you're going to have to then wait for it to come down. And the thing is that the window can be fairly narrow. To keep it at a low heat with a live fire, I don't know how that would work.
What about coals? Like if you had, like, you know, really good maple or oak coals?
Mhm. Well, the coals do keep it, but I've noticed, like when I was doing it last year, at the farmers market, we'd have pizza going for about 2.5 hours, and about halfway through that, I was finding that the 2-minute pizza was now a 5 or 6 minute pizza because the hearth had cooled.
Because it's cool
Even
in
though
the front.
even though I'm keeping a fire going at the back, I'm not keeping a huge roaring fire, but the hearth itself in the middle is cool. So what I would do is I'd take a break, pull the coals forward, let them sit there, throw a couple of small logs on there, and then push it back, and then it went great. It will go great. So
How many can you kind of cook at a time?
how many? 2's comfortable, depending on the size, right? But 2's comfortable, 3 is manageable, and I'm doing fairly small pizzas. It's just that it's hard to move around there. It's a fairly narrow opening. It's hard to move around with the paddle. If you've got more than that, you start scraping the top off and
Yeah, it would be a little messy.
And that's not bad because when it only takes 3 minutes,
Right.
you
Yeah.
you can turn around a lot of pizzas. Tony's gift with the also with the tools to run it. This was part of a Trillium grant that we got, and so we've made it open to the public.
Right.
So whether you're a member of Mera or not doesn't matter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really a community oven. And
That's great.
the only control that we keep on it is that the person who's cooking in it has to have been trained,
Right.
and that they will follow the rules.
Okay, so you should
as
come
we've
and
set.
have a look inside here now.
Can you tell us the temperature inside there at the different areas?
Maybe. It's about 470 then.
About 470.
About 500 at the back.
So is it hotter behind the fire seat?
No, it's not. It's a little hotter on the sides there, but that makes sense because it's still at the
It's
front of
hotter
the
in the
fire
side?
than it is at the way back. And of course on the hearth itself it's like almost right there, it's about 800 degrees. But that's almost right in the fire, you know.
Right. No, I'm.
So the thing that I just wanted to show you, if you just come up and have a look there, and just have a look at fire brick, it's all black. It's all like, alright, so that's typical because when it starts you've got a lot of smoke and stuff blackening it. But after a time what will happen is that it'll actually burn clear white. Okay, and then when it's burnt clear white, that's a good indicator that it's pizza time.
So you mean the walls will become white?
Yeah, well the fire brick.
Okay.
The black will be burned off because at that point the fire is going well, the circulation of the fire inside there is going well because basically you're getting kind of a flow, airflow, because the chimney's in the front. You know, once the fire is at the back, it's going to go up because heat rises and then it's going to get pushed down and out like that, right? So you are getting a distribution of the heat through there. And I guess, I mean, I'm no scientist, so, you know, someone's probably got a better reason than I do. But that works, you know. It's just a neat phenomenon.
Okay, I'll come here and show the camera the close-up in the oven.
Firewood as well? You guys have lots of land to cut up?
Yeah. This year was just thinning down to the sugar bush.
Lots of maple land.
No, not quite.
So will the base, you know, the floor of the oven, will that change color?
Yeah.
So that will become white as well?
Yeah.
Okay.